This is the message I am receiving from the media, Washington, and Antifa. And I have to ask, is this truly the point you hope to make? I'm going to try something just a little bit new. I'm going to try to point out the message I'm getting from mainstream media, Washington, and Antifa. And understand this is based on my personal opinions and beliefs and experiences in life. I'm not saying this is fact-based, although some of it is, so please feel free to discard this if these points and thoughts upset you. First, before Trump was elected, the left, Washington, and media was concerned Trump supporters would not accept the election results, that they would take to the streets in violence after the election. Yet all three of these groups are doing exactly what they feared Trump supporters would do. And they have yet to notice the hypocrisy. Since Trump was elected, we have had violence. These are the violent moments that stick with me. February 1st, Milo Yiannopoulos speech at Berkeley. What I saw: fire set, destruction of property, a mob out of control. The goal was to stop one person from sharing ideas you think are dangerous because it challenges your worldview. May and June, Evergreen College, on banning whites from campus. What I saw: students intimidating teachers, shouting at them, insulting them, a big group of kids throwing temper tantrums, an administration too accommodating to try and show understanding of those children's feelings, even though those children could not show the least bit of tolerance to the adults, and so was unable to effectively handle the crisis. The goal was to force words the kids disagreed with underground, to try and get speech they didn't like pushed underground. You insisted the teacher apologize, and wanted the administration to fire him when he didn't. June 14th, the shooting in Maryland, violence against Republicans by one man who was disturbed and acted based on the idea that there was enough evidence to impeach, but he was not impeached because the media and left say Republicans won't do it. His action is his alone, but the message was based on fantasy, and we ended up with a political tragedy, all because of the attempt by the left to stifle any dissent, emboldening the worst in society to attack conservatives and Trump supporters because they made decisions against what Washington and media thought was important. They have dehumanized Trump supporters so that it is okay to hate us. It is okay to commit violence against us, which I believe is something that the Nazis did in the 1930s before they took power. Charlottesville, August the 11th and 12th. You had a group walking around in KKK clothes, signs that were disgusting. It was clear the organizers wanted to be as offensive as possible. What I saw: signs and chants of hatred, violence started, one death due to a white nationalist supporter attacking a group in a car. I also saw the media, however, pile on to try and blame a man in Washington because he used words you disliked. Those are the ones that stick in my head, and only one can remotely be placed at the feet of the neo-Nazis: white supremacist actions in Charlottesville. Here's your problem. Each time, the police did little beyond watch and try and control the violence. Trump, who has yet to demand police or National Guard to come in to enforce free speech, and yet you insist he is the same as Hitler. Well, Hitler would not be tolerating this behavior against him. Your argument requires him to act like a tyrant. The problem is, no matter how much provocation you have shown, he has shown tolerance. The worst he has done is use words. That is it. They are brutal words. They make me cringe. But not once has he attempted to use the power he has to silence you, no matter how bad you behave. These are violent acts. I'm not even covering the many smaller acts that have targeted free speech. From Washington, mainstream media to Antifa, all are attacking anyone that dares to think differently. Even businesses like YouTube and Facebook are so sensitive, they are now trying to silence any sharing of ideas that might trigger your side. And still, except for Charlottesville, Trump supporters have not taken the bait. It seems you're wanting a confrontation, and yet you keep failing because the other side has better impulse control, something Washington and the media insist Trump does not have. I do not know how this plays to others. These are my opinions. The media in Washington want to get back to the way things were, so they can do what they want and shaft us. You may yet win, but consider this. Your side has been triggered by words alone. If you succeed in removing him with no proof of wrongdoing, the message to us is there no longer is hope. Violence is all that's left. I do not want a civil war. The First Amendment is to protect freedom of speech. There is a reason it is valued more than the Second Amendment. The First Amendment acts like a safety valve to allow all sides to let off steam, a feeling there is an alternative to guns. I plead with you to understand before you do irreparable harm to this nation. I fear the moment when the hard right decide they have had enough. Once they do this, this can become bloody and force the country into the same shameful acts you today want to hide in the Civil War of the 1860s. I find it ironic your side wants to hide the shame of that period. At the same time, you illustrate all the attributes that led to that generation's war. And I ask again, are you truly in such a hurry to destroy all the good in this country because all you can think about is your own selfish needs? Kennedy said, ask not what your country can do for you, but what can you do for your country? Is there nothing left in your heart that values those words? Please consider this. Thank you. Again, feel free to ignore me, but you might consider if I, a gay man, middle of the road, and trying to have a reasonable discussion with you, then just how many others out there are thinking the same thing.